keep or fire. I'm going to go through the entire main roster of WWE and evaluate each superstar and determine whether or not they are worthy of keeping or firing. So obviously this will never happen because WWE is not going to fire anybody. They don't have to make any budget cuts because they're going to be making more money in 2019 than they've probably ever have for an entire year in the history of their company, with the Fox deal coming up and then the renewed USA deal for Raw. They're going to be making a ton of money, so there's no need to fire anyone. However, I do believe when you look at the entire roster that there's been a ton of wrestlers, male and female, who have become very stale and very stagnant. I believe that if you were to release some of them and bring up wrestlers from NXT or trim the roster, I don't think this roster needs to be as big as it is. You have a tremendous amount of talent, but WWE has shown that they cannot utilize all the talent that they have. They have more great workers in this company than they've ever had in their history, and I don't think there's any denying that. Certainly not from a character perspective, but from a worker perspective, by far they've never had this much talent in the ring. However, there are only so many spots. You have 3 hours of Raw, which you might think, yeah, there's plenty of room, and the Raw roster is bigger than the SmackDown roster. However, when you look at the Raw roster, there's only so much room. There's segments for the top guys. There's guys who have to wrestle every week. And then there's a whole bunch of other talent who just does not get utilized because there's not available spots. And then there's other wrestlers who I feel have been there for too long, who we've seen for too long. And if WWE wants to keep them, get them off TV, put them as a trainer. And I'm going to go through each wrestler. I'm going to believe who I believe should stay and who I believe WWE can get rid of. I think there's a lot of dead weight on this roster, and I believe that the roster would be stronger if you were to replace these guys, or even not just replace them, just cut them. I don't think they need to be there anymore. I think we've seen too many guys for too long, and I think that's a huge problem. So I'm not advocating for anyone to lose their job. I have a tremendous amount of sympathy for anyone to lose their job and not be able to provide for their family. However, I feel if in terms to make the product better, these are the wrestlers I would personally prefer to continue to see in WWE, or prefer to leave WWE and possibly even come back. So without further ado, let's go through the main roster. I'm going to go through the Raw roster first, the men, then the women, then I'll go to the SmackDown roster by alphabetical order. So the first name that comes up on the main roster for Raw is Akam. I would keep Akam, but you have to do a lot of creative changes to the Authors of Pain. I'm sorry, you have to call them AOP because the term Authors of Pain is too extreme to be considered PG, I guess. Pain might scare little kids. I keep him, but you have to do a lot. First, get rid of Drake Maverick, and then with him and Razor, call him the Authors of Pain again, and then bring back Paul Ellering. That's what I would do. Go do those things. I still think he has a lot of potential. He's big. That tag team can still get over as a monster tag team. They're not dead yet like some might think, but they do have to change a lot creatively. So you keep Akam. Apollo Crews has to be fired, even though I think he's still very talented. He's a guy who came up to the main roster too soon. He got fast-tracked NXT too soon. I think he should have stayed on in the Indies and built his name more, but he got fast-tracked to NXT. Wasn't there for long. Didn't really get over with that audience. Was kind of boring. Comes up to the main roster. He got lost in the shuffle quickly. He has been floundering ever since. He's still talented. I say let him go tear it up on the Indies for a couple of years, then bring him back. Someone who I would fire and not bring back is Baron Corbin. I'm just going to keep this quick. There's nothing really to say about Baron Corbin. He's horrible. He's horrible in the ring. He's horrible on the mic. I would want to get into a huge rant. Just fire him. He's terrible, but they never will. But if it was up to me, I fire him. Another guy you have to fire is Bo Dallas. He's been there for too long. He's done absolutely nothing. He's been a complete flop on the main roster. He has a horrible look. He's just there because his dad's the IRS. The only way I would save Bo is to put him with Bray, but I think Bray should be fired too, and I'll talk about him more when they get to him. So I say fire Bo Dallas, and if his father gets mad, fire him too. Bobby Lashley, fire him. He's nothing. He's horrible. I don't know how bad he is in the ring. He has no charisma. He is horrible on the mic. And fire Leo Rush too. So yeah, fire Lashley. I said it. Keep Bobby Roode. If you turn him heel, I don't want to get rid of guys who I still think have potential. If you turn him heel, he can be a great heel. So I keep him. Obviously, keep Braun Strowman. Bray Wyatt, fire. Yeah, I'm done with Bray Wyatt. I don't want to see him. He has go away heat with me. I say fire him. Brock Lesnar, I'm just going to say let him leave. Let him, don't re-sign him. You don't fire Brock Lesnar. You can't do that. He's still a big attraction. And people don't like to hear it. He still is, but just let him leave when his contract's up. Don't re-sign him. Chad Gable, I'm not going to say fire. You can't fire or keep. Just let him go. Chad Gable, keep. He still has potential. I know they're going to bury him, but I don't want to fire guys, so I still think do have some potential with the company if they were treated differently. And I think Gable's a guy who I would not, I can't fire him. We could, but I wouldn't. Curt Hawkins is a guy who needs to be fired. He has absolutely nothing. He offers nothing. He's just a guy with a losing streak. I don't know why he's still employed. Curtis Axel, sorry man, goodbye. Fire Curtis Axel. He's been horrible. He's a horrible worker. Here he's a nice guy, but I'm sorry. He has nothing. He has to go. He's just dead weight. Dash Wilder, it pains me to say this. Fire. Let the Revival come back in a couple of years. You have to let them go, or their careers are just going to go to hell. It's a sad, tough thing to say. You have to let them go right now. It's brutal. I know they're one of the best tag teams, but I say fire them both. And let them go, but certainly bring them back. And I could see them leaving too. There's rumors that they gave notice to the company. So that's been out there floating on the internet. Obviously keep Dean Ambrose, but you have to change. Just please start booking him better. Dolph Ziggler, bye. Fire Dolph Ziggler. Yep. Goodbye, Dolph. It's been a run. I don't want to see him anymore. He's one of those guys, when I turn on my TV screen, I have no interest. He's one of those guys, I want to change the channel when he's on my TV because every single thing he does means nothing. I say fire Ziggler. McIntyre, obviously keep. Elias, keep. Fandango, goodbye. Bye, Fandango. You have nothing. You should have been fired years ago. You got one positive reaction the night after WrestleMania in 2013. Other than that, your career has been a complete flop. So fire Fandango. Jinder Mahal, this is pretty quick. Yeah, fire. Goodbye, Jinder. Bye, Jinder. You're fired. Indy has a flop, and so's your career, so you can fire him. Kalisto, please fire. I can't stand him. I think he's horrible. He has the worst mic skills in the history of the company. I one time heard him on commentary a couple years ago. He is the worst I've ever heard. He has to be fired. He has nothing. There's a whole bunch of other lucha wrestlers you can sign. Get rid of the entire lucha host party. I hate the whole gimmick. I want them all out. Fired. They offer nothing. They're all flops. And plus, Rey Mysterio's back, so why do you even need him? Kevin Owens, obviously keep. Connor of the Ascension is probably the worst wrestler in the whole company in terms of as an in-ring wrestler. He's the worst, I think. So, obviously fire him. Kurt Angle, keep, but don't have him wrestle anymore. Just keep. I don't want to see him on TV. Get him off TV, but keep him as a Legends contract, or even just making sporadic appearances. Just, I don't want to see him. He can appear on those special Raw shows or those special reunion shows they do, but in terms of on the main roster, as a performer or as a talent, he has to go. Lindsay Dorado, goodbye, fire. Mojo Rawley, I like him, but fire. I'm sorry. He's a guilty pleasure of mine. I enjoy seeing him, but he's dead weight. You gotta fire him. No way, Jose, get the fuck out. You're horrible. You're worse than Adam Rose. Razor, again, as I talked about Akam, keep. I went over that earlier. Put them in the same category. Change things creative. You obviously, still think there's potential, so keep them. Roman Reigns, obviously you keep. Rhino, I don't know. I think he's gone already, so he's still listed on the main roster, so I'm just going to say fire anyway. Sami Zayn, you keep. Scott Dawson, as I talked about the Revival. Tough to say. I hate saying it. Huge fan of those guys, but I think they need to go. I really think it's best for them to let them go. If you keep them around for a year or 2 more years doing nothing, their careers are going to die. I don't think there's any reviving them. It's better to let them go, bring them back the night after WrestleMania in a couple of years will be the most over thing in the company, but let them go for now. Seth Rollins, obviously keep. Titus O'Neil, keep, but as an off-air talent. Keep him as an agent. Keep him as an ambassador to WWE. He's a great guy. He does a whole bunch of charity work. He's a great ambassador for the company. He does a great job representing the company. Keep him in that role. Just keep him as I don't want to see him as a talent on the roster, but, again, off TV. Victor, fire. Sorry. He's not as bad as Connor, but the Ascension is the worst tag team maybe in the history of the company. They both need to go. Dead weight, again, he has no future, fire. Tyler Breeze, again, let him tear up on the indies, fire him. Yeah. I don't know if they can bring him back, actually. They killed his character too quickly. He's done. I say fire Tyler Breeze, even though, I was a big fan of his in NXT, so. I suppose you can keep him in NXT, but if it's just the main roster, fire him. And Zack Ryder, get the fuck out. You're horrible. I was a Zack Ryder fan. Then I realized, and I'll admit, I was on his bandwagon during the whole Z True Long Island story, like in 2011. I loved Zack Ryder back then. And I started to realize, watching him work, he's just not good. He's not a good promo. He's a horrible wrestler. He's very weak. So, bye Zack Ryder. Fire him. So as you can see, the Raw roster was heavily scrutinized by me. There's a lot of guys I think they can just get rid of, and I think the roster will be better. There's guys you need to just keep around for house shows, but I think you have enough guys in NXT you can call up. And then the problem is WWE is going to be signing so much talent because of All Elite Wrestling in 2019 that they there's going to be so much NXT. NXT is going to be bloated. There's guys in NXT who can get fired. So I'd say bring up more guys from NXT than ever and get rid of a whole bunch of guys on the main roster. That's how I would handle it. And now you can say they're going to go back to All Elite Wrestling again. If they're going to do that signing purge, I think it might be better. Who knows if All Elite Wrestling will be around in a couple of years. They'll probably be done in a year, and I think WWE would be better to start bringing these guys back. Who they want to bring back in a couple of years, I think they'd be better for everyone involved. Let's get to the woman, Alexa Bliss. So I don't know what her status is as a wrestler, but if you fire Alexa Bliss, that'd be one of the dumbest things you can do. Alexa Bliss is a star. She has some haters. I don't care. I love her. Huge fan of hers. Always have been. She's just insanely attractive. I think she's the best looking woman. It's like she's insanely cute. There's just something about her that you love. And she just seems like the sweetheart of a person. I've heard people who've met her. I've never heard one bad story about her. I'm sure she's just as beautiful on the outside as she is on the inside as she is on the outside, which is crazy to think about. So I love Alexa Bliss. It looks like she's out as Raw GM. I don't want to see her in that position. You can even have her manage Buddy Murphy if you want to do that. You can have her, manage, I guess as the commissioner for the woman, if you want to do that too. So there's a lot you can do with her, but she's not even that good of a wrestler. Just you absolutely keep her. Alicia Fox, a fire. Again, dead weight, been there too long. Never improved, just an average wrestler, horrible gimmick. She's so bad. She's supposed to be good. I guess that's a gimmick, but to me, she's always been so bad. She's just awful, so I fired her. Bayley, they've done a number on Bayley, but you still keep Bayley. You can still revive her, I hope. Even not, she's a body. I mean, you can't fire too many women because there's just not as many women as there are the men. So, you need bodies for house shows. So, at worst, Bayley's that, but I still think they can revive her. And I think that when she turned on Sasha, she got that huge reaction. She still has potential. So, you definitely keep Bayley, and you can still revive her. Dana Brooke, you absolutely fire. She has absolutely nothing. She's horrible. She's just terrible. She's a horrible performer, and there's no hope for her. She's dating an NBA All-Star. I know, her boyfriend passed away a year ago, and I felt really bad for her, and I was hoping, and it was nice to see the company keep her. But they're bringing up a lot of women for NXT, and I think Lacey Evans can probably just take her spot right now. So you fire Dana Brooke. Ember Moon, obviously keep. Maybe they push her. I don't know if they'll give up on her, but she definitely has a lot of potential. She's a really good worker, so you keep her, no question. Liv Morgan, I'd keep. She's not very good, but she's one of those people, she's so new, you can just keep her around for a couple more years. As a body, she's fine. You kind of felt bad for her after what Brie Bella kicked her in the fucking face. So you keep Liv, but she's not that good. But again, she's like a body, as a jobber. Right? You need people like that around, and I'd still keep her, and she's great to look at too. Mickie James, you keep and let her retire. You let Mickie James go out when she wants. You keep her until she retires, which probably won't be very long. Same thing goes for Natalya. You keep her. She probably retires soon. Natalya in particular, she'd be an amazing trainer. That's what her future could be. Maybe she even takes Sarah Amato's job as the head trainer. That's what Natalya's going to be. I think she's a lifer. You keep her as a trainer. Nia Jax, get the fuck out. Fire Nia Jax. Yes, fuck The Rock. I don't care what he says. She is horrendous. She should be fired. She should have never been brought up to the main roster. And maybe she should have been cut from NXT because she's so bad. She has nothing. Horrendous on the mic. Horrendous in the ring. Injured half the Raw roster. Injured all the top stars. She's injured every single top female star in the company. With the exception of Ronda Rousey. She's injured everyone. Asuka, she's injured. She's injured Alexa Bliss. She's injured Charlotte. She broke Becky's face. She injured Sasha Banks. She injured Bayley. She's injured, it's pretty much all the top women in the company. She's hurt. She hurt Ember Moon too, according to her husband. So yeah, he fired Nia Jax. Ronda Rousey, obviously keep. Ruby Riott, you definitely keep. She has a lot of potential. I think she can be one of the biggest breakout stars in 2019. She has a lot, so you keep her. Sarah Logan, this may surprise some of you. I fire Sarah Logan. She has nothing. She is horrific. She is horrible on the mic. When you heard her talk, when she did that southern accent, it was just horrendous. She's horrendous in the ring. She's horrific. She's always out of position. Whenever you watch the Wyatt Squad wrestle, she always messes up. She's always out of position, and you can even see the other girls getting mad at her. She is so bad. She needs to go. She has nothing to offer, in my opinion. I just think you have to fire her. She's just dead weight. She's horrific. There's no improvement. Liv Morgan has more upside than Sarah Logan. I keep Liv Morgan, but I get rid of Sarah Logan. Sasha Banks, you keep Sasha Banks. I know she has a bad attitude backstage. It's kind of all known, but Sasha Banks, she has a huge following. I have to say, I think Sasha Banks, her Alexa Bliss, both their fan bases are fucking crazy. You look at their tweets, you look at the replies, these fucking people are nuts. It's these obsessive teenage girls or these creepy middle-aged men or these younger men who are obsessed with them. I don't know, I noticed they have the creepiest fan bases, those two. Sasha Banks is very talented. I know people don't like her because of the way she treated fans. I've heard those stories too, but look, she might have a bad attitude. She's still very good in the ring. She's a talent. I don't know if you can get her to Becky's level, because Becky a year ago was doing nothing, but I don't know if Sasha will ever get to that level, but Sasha Banks will get back to the level she was once at, probably like a couple years ago or a few years ago when she debuted. She's still young enough. She has a lot of talent. She's great in the ring. She'll improve in the ring. She'll stop being this sloppy. She's still young. You obviously keep Sasha. Still has a bright future. Even though people don't not like her, I still think she's going to be a big star. And I think she'll eventually hit her stride and become a top female star again. Tamina, pockets. Well, look into your pockets, Tamina, and you can find a pink slip, because you're fired. You're the worst wrestler in the whole company, Tamina.
I'm sorry,
Get the fuck
I don't
hate Tamina. It's just, she's absolutely horrific. Like, she should be fired. She has nothing to offer. She's old. She's been there forever. Like, why do they have to keep her around? Doesn't she have money now? Look how long she's been there. She just has no talent. She needs to go. Dead weight again. She's horrendous. She doesn't put anyone over. I've never seen anyone get that weak of a reaction in the history of the company. Every single time she comes out, nothing. If anything, it gives me some entertainment. Like when I see her come out and you just hear dead silence, it actually makes me laugh. So maybe just for that, you might want to keep her, but I would fire her definitely. And now we get to the SmackDown roster. So, we're sticking to the main roster. I'm not going to go over 205 Live because those guys mean absolutely nothing. I don't really care about that. And I'm not going to go through NXT because it's still, developmental. And there's a lot of guys who are still, learning. So I'm not going to go through that. I'm just going to go through the Raw and SmackDown rosters. First, we have Aiden English. Yeah, get the fuck out. You should have been fired years ago. I don't care about this whole Rusev Day thing. You're horrendous. Zero talent, just horrible look. Just please fire him. I don't want to see him. AJ Styles, you keep. Alexander Wolf, this might surprise you. Fire. He's not very good. Sanity's been a flop. It looks like they're not gonna put Nikki Cross with Sanity unless they were gonna push Sanity and keep Nikki Cross with them and push him. If they're not gonna do that, I fire him. I don't think he has any talent. He has somewhat of a gothic look. I would have Killian Dane turn on Sanity and get rid of everyone else. Andrade Cien, you keep him. He still has a lot of potential. I get this feeling they're going to push him eventually. I think they'll get to him. I think they're going to get to him, so I keep him. I think eventually he'll get a push. Speaking of someone who should be getting a big push soon, because I think he has a lot of potential as a top star, is Big E. You keep him. I think he can be a top star if they were to get behind him, because he has a great look and he has a lot of personality. I think he'd be over. Big Show, just retire, dude. Please retire. Cesaro, you keep him. Even though I'm not a fan of the Bar, they still are a solid tag team, so you keep him. Daniel Bryan, obviously keep. Epico Cologne. My God, how is this guy still employed? Why do they have to fucking employ Carlos Colon's son? After all that shit with Invader and Brody, fuck off. Like, why do they have to employ these guys? They have nothing. Fucking worried about the Puerto Rican market, like as if anyone in Puerto Rico watches the show and reads anything to this damn company. For fuck's sakes, why don't they fire both these guys? Eric Young, you fire him. He's old. He's doing nothing. Just get rid of him. Let him go to the Indies. It's a dead weight. This is painful to say, guys. Luke Harper, huge fan of his. You have to fire Luke Harper. It is what it is. He's great, but they're doing absolutely nothing with the guy, and he's not young. It is what it is. It's dead weight. He has to go. Even though he's great, it's like, if you're not going to do anything with this guy, I'd rather see him go on to Indies and tear it up. I think he might be the kind of guy who asks for his release soon anyway, so do him a favor and leave him. Jeff Hardy, yeah, you let him retire. Jeff's great, in my opinion. Still, he's a legend. You let him go when he wants, which won't be very long, it looks like. Because I don't think he's a guy who really wants to be there that much. Jey Uso, Jimmy and Jey Uso, you keep them, obviously. Yeah, you keep both the Usos. Carl Anderson, I would say fire, but I think he won't be in the company very long anyway. You let him leave, so you can just fire him if you want, but yeah, he won't be in the company much longer, so he'll go probably to All Elite Wrestling. He can be back with the new Bullet Club or the Elite, whatever they call themselves now. Killian Dan keep. You can still push him as a star. I think he's the only guy to keep standing. I'd get rid of everyone else. I'd keep him. I'd keep Nikki Cross too, but I don't think she's going to be with them. But yeah, I keep Killian Dan. He has a cool look to him. I think he has potential. Keep him. Kofi Kingston, I keep him as a trainer if he wants. I don't fire him. I think he's a great backstage guy to have. He's a guy he's a great mentor guy. I don't see any reason to fire a guy like Kofi Kingston. Let him be at the company and transition to him whenever he wants to a backstage role if he wants that, but you don't fire Kofi. Luke Gallows, again, same thing with Carl Anderson. He'll go soon. So you can fire him if you want, but he'll be gone soon. The Miz, you obviously keep. Mustafa Ali, you keep. He just came up. Primo Cologne, goodbye. Fire Primo. No need to keep him around. Why do we have to keep the Colognes? I don't know. This is our truth. No, I'm sorry. Why did I say our truth? This is JTG levels. This is JTG levels we're getting with these Cologne guys. It's getting to that point. Like, they're just keeping their job and they're singing, catering. Why? Our truth, I like to mention him. You keep our truth. Yeah, again, like if he wants to do something backstage as an agent, if he wants to be a trainer, you let him transition to that role. But again, someone you keep around, people like him. I like R-Truth. Everyone likes him. There's no reason to get rid of him. Randy Orton, yeah, we don't need to talk about that. You keep him. You keep Rey Mysterio too. Erick Rowan, bye. He should have been fired a long time ago. I'm sorry. Erick Rowan has nothing. He is the weak link of every single faction he's been a part of. He's always the weak link in the Wyatt family. He's always been the weak link with the Bludgeon Brothers. Erick Rowan has no talent. He's not very good in the ring. He holds his team back. He's always the third wheel, which is not very good. I'd fire him. I don't know why you keep him. And the biggest thing with Erick Rowan, his biggest weakness, despite his lackluster in-ring ability, is his ability to stay healthy. I don't know how many times this guy's been injured. It's been insane. Like these last 3 years, he's been injured so many times, and it's big injuries. He's out for 6 months at a time with a major tear. With there could be a torn tricep. He's torn so many things in his damn arms. He's torn his biceps, his triceps. Rowan needs to go. Samoa Joe, I don't know. I'm gonna say keep, but I'm not. It's not a good keep. It's like a guy you can keep around, but like, I don't know. Like, I hope they do more with that guy. He's still very good. Sheamus, you keep Sheamus. I've never been a big Sheamus guy, but keep him. You keep the bar around. They're the guys you just keep around for talents. You just don't let guys like that go. They're champs, and even if they're not, they're challengers. No reason to get rid of them. Shelton Benjamin, let him go. You haven't seen him. It's like he's doing nothing. He's dead weight. He's a guy he's not like a veteran with the company. He was a star for a few years, and then he became not a star, and he got released, and then he came back, and he got injured. He had some health issues, and it's been a flop, so there's no reason to keep him around. Speaking of someone who I wish they'd let go, I wish this guy I think he wants to say, but I would fire him. I want to see the WWE fire this guy because he's a lazy ass. Send your lazy ass back to Japan. You are a lazy bastard, Shinsuke Nakamura. You fucking loser. You phoned it in. You got a huge push. You had so much potential with this damn company, but no, you had to phone it in. Every single time we were on pay-per-view, you phoned it in. You phoned it in when you faced AJ. Every single time on that main roster in the last couple years, they've given you so many times to shine with big matches. Even guys who weren't as good as you couldn't elevate them to better matches. Shinsuke Nakamura, you're lazy. You phoned it in. Everyone knows he phones it in. It's a well-known fact. I mean, everyone in the backstage in WWE knows the guy phones it. He got that reputation very early. Send your lazy ass back to Japan, Shinsuke, and go back to New Japan. You can be a big star there, or go to All Elite Wrestling. I'm sorry, but it's time to go, Nakamura. Sin Cara, get the fuck out, man. Come on, you have to keep this guy. He has nothing. Zero talent, man. He flops, or he botches every fucking move. It's like he's one of those guys who's a loser. His career's been a loser. It's not like the guy right now who plays Sin Cara. It's more about Mystico when he came up to the main roster. But like Sin Cara, he's a loser. This character is a loser. It's a flop. Ty Dillinger, you fire Ty Dillinger very quickly. Fire him, and I think he wants to go. He's one of those guys who I believe will probably ask for his release. I can see him asking for his release very soon. So I think it's going to happen sooner than later. You fire him, and you keep Xavier Woods. I like all the New Day. You keep them. Even though they might get stale, I'm not a big fan of the pancakes. You don't fire any one of them. To the woman now. Asuka, you obviously keep. There's nothing to say there other than she's awesome. Becky Lynch, we really need to talk about this. You keep her. She could be the top star in the whole company if they really got behind her. She might main event WrestleMania this year. So, yeah, Becky Lynch is awesome. Billie Kay. Some people want to say get rid of the Iconics. I don't get rid of Billie Kay. I know of the two of the Iconics, she has lesser potential, but I keep them. They could make it work. I wouldn't keep them. They haven't been there too long. They're both really good to look at too, so I keep them. Carmella, keep her out of the ring. I like Carmella as a character that's not a wrestler. Like as a valet, keep her. Don't fire Carmella. Again, just keep her out of the wrestling ring. You can keep her at the comedy act. She's fine in that role, but she's just not very good. Charlotte Flair, we don't even need to talk about this. Charlotte's great. Yeah. Keep her, obviously. Lana, I skipped over Rusev. I think I skipped over Rusev when I was talking about them. And yeah, I would keep Rusev, and I would keep Lana too, but if they want to go, they'll both go together. So I keep them both, because it looks like they're going to be staying together. They're the Rusev's U.S. champ. Lana is a great valet to Rusev, but when they go, eventually both of them have to go. But I keep them both for now. Mandy Rose, she's insanely attractive. She's going to get a top push. She's so hot, you have to keep her. There's nothing really to say. There's nothing to say there. Naomi, again, keep her. She's fine. Not a top star or anything, but again, she's a body. She has experience. She's fine to keep around. You'll call up a woman on the NXT roster, and she'll be someone who can, again, just be enhancement talent. You don't fire someone like that. Peyton Royce, I think she has potential. I saw her in NXT. Maybe I'm still living off her NXT run, but I like Peyton Royce a lot from that run, even though her run on the main roster has been a flop. I like the Iconics. Peyton Royce is very attractive. She has a good look. I keep her. I really root for those two girls to turn her around, but I'll have to admit, it's going really bad. I still keep her. Sonya Deville, I keep. I don't mind Sonya Deville. I think she's fine. I think one thing that hurts her is when they sign Ronda Rousey and other female MMA fighters. It's going to kill her because she's like an amateur fighter, but I keep her. Again, she's fine. She's young. She's improving. There's no reason to get rid of her. It's Zelina Vega. What do you think I'm going to say here? Obviously, you keep Zelina Vega. I love Zelina Vega. Please, Zelina Vega, as long as you want, stay with this company because you are great. Yeah. What a beautiful woman. Love Zelina Vega. You don't touch her. So that was just the main roster, the talent on the main roster. I wanted to go through some other people like the commentators, and we can talk about some of them. Drake Maverick, fire. I'm sorry, fire him. The Singh brothers, fire them. They have nothing. You get rid of them. Those are people, non-wrestlers on Raw. SmackDown personnel. I'm gonna talk about some of the commentators. Get rid of Corey Graves. Replace Corey Graves. He irritates me. He annoys me. I hate Corey Graves as an announcer. He's just irritating. There's something about him that really annoys me, and I say get rid of Corey Graves. I think you can do better than him. Michael Cole, just transition him off of commentary. Just let him be off of commentary from now on. Let him produce everything. He'll be one of the top producers in the back, but please, I don't want to hear his voice anymore. I've heard his voice for 20 years. It gives me a migraine. Renee Young, obviously what Michael Cole is like, the guy just phones it in. Like, the last few years, he's just been phoning it in. Renee Young, get her off commentary, transition her to a backstage role. And the SmackDown announcers, again, I don't like Corey Graves. That's an unpopular opinion to some. Not a fan of him. I want them to get rid of him. Byron Saxton, I'd replace him. You don't have to fire him completely. You don't have to really fire Corey Graves. Just, I'm not a fan of his commentary. And same thing with Byron Saxton. So someone who I don't mind actually is Tom Phillips, so I'd keep him on commentary. So I want to overhaul the commentary. I'm not a fan of anyone on commentary. So that's all I'll do. That's who I think on the main roster you cut, you keep, or you fire. You can cut some guys. You can ask some guys to retire. I like to just call it keep or fire. That's who I would release and who I would keep on the roster. So if you guys disagree, let me know in the comments. I'll post everyone in the description to see who I decided to let go and who I decided to keep. But that's my roster of a supposed bus flip in WWE who I would get rid of. So I think it's needed. I don't want to see anyone lose their job. I think an actual real shakeup is needed. And I think there's a lot of guys who are just very stale. And I think this would be best for the whole product as a whole.